Welcome everybody then to the financial reporting quick mini lecture on something that the examiner says students aren't very good at, and that's when one company sells to another company, but they sell an asset rather than goods. So an intragroup asset transfer. So why we're looking at this, well, the examiner said it was the most answered incorrectly in September, December 25. And basically you've got two jobs to do, but most candidates just did one. So what's the core idea? Well, if you sell an asset from say the parent and subsidiary, nothing's actually moved out of the group, so there's been no sale. So if a subsidiary sells to a parent, for example, at a profit, they sell equipment at a profit, in their books, the subsidiary's books, it looks like a real sale because it is a real sale in the individual books, but the asset is still inside the group because the subsidiary sold it to the parent. So the profit is not a profit, it's unrealised as far as the group account's concerned. And then the second part is that the depreciation is now too high because you've sold it at a profit, so the asset is now being depreciated by the buying company at a higher amount because they were sold at a higher amount. It'll make more sense as we do numbers. So two adjustments: strip out the full unrealised profit in the seller's company. So in the seller's retained earnings, if we're doing an SFP. So reduce the seller's post-acquisition retained earnings with the unrealised profit. Now what you've also got to do is add back the extra depreciation because the buyer bought it, they bought it at a higher amount, so now they've got an asset, so therefore the group is paying more depreciation than it otherwise would have done. So you have to add back the extra depreciation. Now that's the bit that students struggle with all the time. And so we increase the buyer's retained earnings with that extra depreciation, as we'll see in this little example. So remember, there's two things. They work in opposite directions in the retained earnings for different companies. So here's the scenario. Subsidiary sells equipment to the parent. Sale price 200,000 when it was in the sub for 160. So can you see that the sub has made a 40,000 profit, but the group hasn't because the group is both the subsidiary and the parent. And the remaining useful economic life is 8 years. So presumably the sub was depreciating over 8 years, 160,000 over 8 years, but now the buyer would be 200,000 over 8 years. So there'd be some extra depreciation. So what do you need to do? Well, first of all, you've got to calculate the size of the unrealised profit. We've done that, haven't we? It's 40,000. Calculate the extra depreciation a year. Well, that would be 40,000 divided by 8. And reduce the seller's profit in retained earnings by the full 40,000 and add back the extra depreciation in the buyer's retained earnings year by year. So let's work through it step by step. Same question, same numbers. Unrealised profit is 40,000. We know that. The extra depreciation would be that extra 40,000 that the asset's now in at, and the depreciation will be 40,000 divided by 8. So the extra depreciation that you have to add back to the retained earnings is 5,000 per year. So the unrealised profit is 40,000 and the extra depreciation is 5,000. So we need to reduce the seller's post-acquisition retained earnings because it hasn't really been a sale. So we reduce the seller's retained earnings, the post-acquisition column, by 40,000. If you reduce the post-acquisition column, then you'll also reduce the NCI share of adjusted profit as well. Be aware of that. Now, over on the buyer side, we're paying too much depreciation, so you have to increase the buyer's retained earnings by 1 year's extra depreciation. You do that for the next 8 years, so by 5,000, till the profit's fully realised over 8 years. And that's that. So the three traps that the examiner keeps flagging, all students are doing is reducing the seller's profits only on the retained earnings, and you'll get half marks of that, and you won't get the extra marks from working out your NCI incorrectly. Putting it in the wrong column, maybe putting the unrealised profit against the buyer and the depreciation against the seller. It's the other way round, isn't it? The unrealised profit reduces the seller, and the add back goes to the one that's been over depreciating, which is the buyer. And finally, forgetting the NCI. If you do reduce the post-acquisition profit of a subsidiary, you will reduce the NCI. as well. Okay, so there you go. That's the quick mini lecture that hopefully makes what students really struggle with. Hope it makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more understandable. 2 adjustments, different direction. One reduces the unrealised profit, one increases the unrealised profit. Do the seller, then do the buyer. And remember, these are the 3 things I want you to take away. Reduce the unrealised profit from the seller's post-acquisition retained earnings, hence the NCI as well, and add 1 year's depreciation back to the buyer's retained earnings. Okay, and as I said, do the NCI as well. Hope it helped. Thanks a lot.